October is Suicide Prevention Month, and every single day we lose about 20 veterans to suicide. Joining us now, a veteran who says psychedelic therapy saved his life when traditional treatments failed. Matthew Whiz Buckley is a decorated Navy Top Gun graduate, an FA-18 fighter pilot, mental health advocate, and founder of No Fallen Heroes Foundation. Matthew Whiz, I want to thank you so much for joining us. This is a topic that, of course, we can't talk too much about because, as we mentioned, so many people, especially our veterans who have served, are taking their lives. Tell us why it's so important for you to keep championing this message that you have to get out there and tell folks that there is hope available.
Well, Toya, thank you for having me, and thank you for shining a spotlight on this issue. Since 9/11, we've lost approximately 7,000 young women and men in combat. We've lost over 160,000 veterans to suicide. So we're winning potentially wars overseas, and we're losing the battle at home. Because as you alluded to, a lot of veterans feel isolated when they leave service. When they were on active duty, they had a mission, they had a brotherhood, they had a sisterhood, they had values. And the military does an incredible job of training us to do some awful things to another human being. But when they're done with us, they don't do such a hot job of turning us back into human beings, so to speak. And then sadly, the VA system is a massive bureaucracy, and there's a phrase that a lot of veterans hear: what's ailing you is not service related. So I'm here to tell veterans that you are not alone and that healing is possible, I promise.
Okay, and I want to thank them and you for serving this country, because that is no small feat at all. So let's talk about how you were struggling and how psychedelics actually came in and helped you when you felt like the traditional path just wasn't doing anything.
Great question. So I flew the F-18 Hornet for about 15 years. I was pulling G's, fighting the jet on the edge of consciousness, slamming it back aboard a ship and landing, which was a car crash. I was in a bad place physically, and then flying fighters for 15 years. I lost 16 buddies. And then along the way, I've lost 4 F-18 brothers to suicide. So as you alluded to, I was kind of spiraling the drain. And about 5 years ago, I wanted to do something to try and prevent veteran suicide. And a buddy of mine said, hey, there's a bunch of Navy SEAL veterans that go down to Mexico and they do psychedelic assisted therapy. Would you want to go? And I said, man, go to Mexico and do drugs with Navy SEALs? That sounds like a great weekend. I had no idea what I was getting into, and I'll give you the cliff notes real quick. It was a 14-hour experience. I've done some challenging things in my life. It was one of the most challenging experiences in my life. It was not fun, but it was 40 years of therapy in 14 hours. It saved and changed my life. And I got home and I said, you know what? I'm going to start the No Fallen Heroes Foundation to provide access to other veterans to potentially receive this life-saving care.
So is that care available here in the U.S. now, or do you still have to send people elsewhere?
Great question. It would infuriate me having to go to Mexico or Costa Rica to heal veterans who incurred trauma serving this one, right? But thank you to the voters in the great states of Oregon, Colorado, I believe Nevada's on hook. We are starting to see these sacraments, these medicines legalized at a state level. So we're getting there. And down here in the great state of Florida, I have a Sacred Warrior Fellowship. We are an entheogenic church where we use these compounds as sacraments. So long answer, short question, we're getting there. But as you said right at the beginning, losing 20 veterans a day, we're not getting there fast enough, in my opinion.
And are we talking mushrooms here or something else?
We're talking psilocybin, but down in Mexico, if you've ever seen the movie Lone Survivor, I went with Navy SEAL Marcus Luttrell. We sat with a compound called ibogaine. And ibogaine is one of the most powerful psychedelics on the planet. And then the other one was 5-MeO DMT from the desert Sonoran toad. So a lot of these compounds all come from Mother Earth. I personally believe that God put all these things on this planet for us to heal, because sadly, follow the money. There's no money in healing. And a lot of us veterans know there's a revolving door between the VA and Big Pharma. And these are gifts from God that I believe can really heal veterans.
All right, well, thank you for sharing your opinion about this. And I know that you've said that this could also help other folks. You don't have to be a veteran, but thank you so much for giving us this information. And if folks need to reach out to find out more information, where can they go?
check out nofallenheroes.com or look at our Instagram, No Fallen Heroes. And thank you again for shining the light on this issue. We appreciate it.
All right, Whiz, thank you so much. And remember, if you are in a crisis ever, there's always help available. You can call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. That number is 988.